What's going on, guys? My name is Tommy. Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another episode of Wednesday Afternoon Worship. Today, at the request of Lord of Death Gaming, we'll be covering the Queen of Witches herself, Baba Yaga. Yeah, okay, sure, she's not technically a god, but Lord of Death Gaming points out, and in my opinion points out correctly, that with 20 witch levels and 10 archmage levels, she is more than powerful enough to challenge most of the entities we've talked about in this series. And with 10 mythic ranks, she could gain worshippers as per divine source if she ever wanted to. So really, Baba Yaga is one step away from becoming a god. Why not run with it? Today we'll be referencing the last book in the Reign of Winter adventure path, The Witch Queen's Revenge, and really I'm going to do my very best to not spoil a whole lot of Reign of Winter, but in some cases there's probably going to be no getting around it, so I'll just go ahead and throw it up here. This video will have Reign of Winter spoilers. You have been warned. As always, this channel is supported by patronage. Patronage is the thing that greases the wheels that makes us awesome, and today, this episode of Wednesday Afternoon Worship was brought to you by Joseph Arvilla. Joe, thank you for your time. Thank you for your friendship. Before we dive in, quick announcement. If you didn't catch my video on Sunday, the End of Planar Crossroads has thrown a one-shot to celebrate their crossing into the triple-digit subscribers, and they're looking for players just like you to come hang out with them. So if you might be interested in something like that, and I mean it's a free game, who's not, the link to enter is right here. Now let's dive in. In Slavic folklore, Baba Yaga is a supernatural being, or one of a trio of sisters with the same name, who appears as a deformed and or ferocious-looking witch. Baba Yaga flies around in a mortar, wields a pestle, and dwells deep in the forest in a hut. In Russian folklore, her house is described as standing on chicken legs, or sometimes a single chicken leg, and she may help or hinder those that encounter or seek her out. She's been identified as one of the most memorable and distinctive figures in Eastern European folklore. In Pathfinder, as we discussed in our 5-minute tour of Irisen, which you can watch right here, Baba Yaga came to Galerion, got some frost giants and stuff to unite, and carved out a section of the lands of the Lenorm kings to form her nation of Irisen. Every 100-odd years, she comes, claims her daughter, installs another member of her family on the throne, repeating this cycle forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. In Pathfinder's lore, Baba Yaga was originally a member of a Sarmatian tribe on planet Earth. In the winter of 65 BC, Baba Yaga, then known as Yanka, disappeared. Her family's band had camped in a hollow between ancient steppe mounds to escape the worst of one of the worst winters of their history, and Yanka and the other children had gone forth to fetch water for the day. This day a new wind had arisen from the north and blanketed the snowy plain in a fog of icy clouds. Yanka and the other children soon became disoriented in the unexpected whiteout, and many panicked and ran back toward the encampment. But young Yanka was confident that she could find her way back after fetching the water, and forged on through the storm. When an unexpected gust of warmer air washed over her, Yanka was both surprised and pleased. Following the warm gusts led her to the edge of a partially snow-filled fissure from which arose billowing steam, and Yanka knew that she had not only found a watering hole, but also a comfortable place to wait out the storm. As Yanka began the descent into the fissure with her leather bucket, she discovered that the cavern was much larger than she first thought, with most of the fissure covered with a thin crust of icy snow, broken only where the warm drafts from below had melted through. Reaching the bottom, Yanka found a deep grotto surrounding a hot spring. Plant life filled this grotto, flourishing in the steamy moisture rising from the hot spring and sheltered from the harsh winds of the steppes above. As she continued down, Yanka noticed crude carvings on the rock walls of the grotto, signs that wanderers from the past had likewise visited this place and had considered it sacred. Finally, she reached this hot spring at the bottom, and she found a venerable rowan tree growing giant in its immense lifespan at the edge of the nutrient-rich spring. Yanka had just decided to take a quick bath in the luxuriously warm water of the pool, something she'd never before experienced in her short life, when the tree spoke to her. It related to her the secrets of the ages of the earth and its peoples. She listened and lost herself in the wonders that were revealed to her until she suddenly remembered the water she was supposed to fetch. She filled her bucket and climbed out of the grotto, only to discover the formerly snow-swept steppe now covered in the tiny purple and yellow flowers of spring. As a warm southern breeze blew across the plain, Yanka discovered that her family's camp between the ancient mountains was long abandoned. Only then did she notice that her clothing was threadbare to the point of tatters and her hair was long and unruly, as more than 2 years had passed since she had descended into the grotto and listened to the voice of the tree. With her family long gone and nowhere to turn, Yanka chose the only option that remained to her. She returned to the grotto to sit once more before the rowan tree beside the hot spring, and the spirit of that tree, the primordial Nord Vigiliv, spoke to her once again and began to teach her the greater secrets of the earth and the universe. Yanka excelled at the training, and after mastering all of the magical knowledge Vigiliv could impart, she turned her attention to the ways of ancient witchcraft. When Yanka emerged again from the grotto years later, she was alive with power unknown to most mortals of her world. After leaving the grotto and spending time among the rest of humanity, she came to understand the distinction between divine magic and arcane magic, or rather, how slim that line actually is. Yanka grew to question reality itself, becoming a skeptical woman who didn't take anything at face value. She questioned everything and scorned anyone who tried to corner her into what was considered accepted behavior. As her reputation as a witch spread, people sought her out to ask for favors and to share her power. Some chiefs and warlords tried to force her to use magic through ultimatums or violence, but she always refused. Yanka would not be tamed by those who couldn't find power for themselves. She would do as she pleased. Though she was brimming with power and confident of her own abilities, she was growing bitter and tired of having the weak endlessly entreating her to solve their petty problems. She saw them as leeches, and in exchange for her gifts, she demanded more and more to test those who came to her with desperation and wishes. She asked for land she would never visit. She demanded coffers of gold, only to pitch them into the river. She called for a man to cut off his own thumb in exchange for healing his lame leg. Some say that during this time, Yanka gained a wrinkle for every question asked of her and a wart for every favor she decided to grant. Out of respect and in light of her withering body, the simple folk began calling her grandmother or Baba, and among the Rus tribes, Yanka became Yaga. Eventually, Baba Yaga, the mother of witches, disgusted with the way humanity scraped at the feet of the powerful, departed her homeworld to pursue greater deeds. Even though she had learned the secrets of immortality as a young woman, she wanted to naturally reach a ripe old age before making the leap. At the age of 102, Baba Yaga felt her body failing. She'd contracted some ailment she couldn't quite heal. She could feel it growing within her. Realizing she was nearing the end, she finally embraced immortality. Upon gaining eternal life, her lingering concerns of morality slipped away. Now she could do whatever she truly wished, and throughout her years, Baba Yaga has become a bitter and foul crone. But as far as she cares, she sees things plainly and clearly without concern of ethics. Nothing is up to her standards. Nothing anyone can do is ever good enough. The strongest heroes and the darkest evil are all somehow flawed under her gaze. She treats demigods the same as shepherds and spews curses at milkmaids and queens alike. She weaves conversations around themselves so that supplicants wind up revealing everything about themselves while ending up knowing less than they already knew about their original questions. Baba Yaga has been known to grant boons, but wise recipients know that when she allows someone to have something, it's because she desires them to have it. Greed almost always compels her gifts, not kindness and not love. She knows that power corrupts and always tests those who seek it, delighting in watching how it debases those who grab at the power she grants without thinking first. Although Baba Yaga has held the potential to grant spells to followers and perhaps even ascend to divinity, she's never considered such things until this alternate universe where we made a video about it. The last thing Baba Yaga wants is a multitude of voices whining prayers to her every minute of every day. That's just more people asking her for stuff. Okay, so like I said, Baba Yaga, though she could be a god, is not a god, so from here forward until we start talking about some stats, we're dipping into the realm of the homebrew. Baba Yaga is neutral evil. Her worshippers probably would include cold fae, giants, witches, and in general, those tired of weaklings or those seeking power. In her bestiary entry, Baba Yaga wields a besom, a broom made of twigs tied around a stick, and as such, that will be her favorite weapon. And her domains might include something like evil, knowledge, magic, and trickery. And let's throw the travel domain in there as well. She probably has access to the arcane and divine subdomains, as she can cast both spells, as well as the portal subdomain. Because the portals she created over Irison are what caused the nation to be blanketed in eternal winter. And for her unholy symbol, we'll use the dancing hut, which she travels around in. For Baba Yaga's obedience, one might imagine you need to go somewhere out far, far by yourself, maybe out in the cold or in the forest, or if that area is not available, maybe even just lock yourself away somewhere private, away from prying eyes and people begging you for answers to their problems. In that hour, remind yourself that you're better than most people, and when that hour is over, maybe grant a favor or two, but always make sure that the favor somehow twists to hurt the person who asks, or in the long run benefits you. In return, let's say, I don't know, how about a +1 to your caster level? That sounds fun. That sounds actually useful, unlike some of the other things the deific obedience can grant you. Yeah, let's go that way. For our spells associated with deific obedience, maybe something like Beguiling Gift thrice a day, Mirror Image twice a day, or Bestow Curse once a day for one path, Magic Missile 3 times a day, Touch of Idiocy twice a day, or Charm Monster once a day for another, and for the third, maybe something along the lines of Bungle 3 times a day, Anticipate Peril twice a day, or Lightning Bolt once a day. It really bums me out whenever deific obediences, which you often have to jump through a bunch of hoops for, if nothing else, it's a feat tax, don't always come out really awesome. So I think for our second tier at 16th, for all 3 of them, we should gain access to some witch hexes, perhaps Fortune on one a number of times per day equal to half your caster level, Misfortune for another one, again, equal to a number of times per day equal to half your caster level. Let's throw your intelligence in there as well, why not? And for the third one, good old Cackle, same amount of times per day. Our 20th level boons need to be super powerful, and Baba Yaga's got the ability to grant them. For one, how about just giving somebody immortality? Go ahead and advance them to immediately venerable age, give them all the bonuses that one would get from being that old. Of course, still shrivel up their physical stats, as Baba Yaga made the trip to venerable age the natural way. For one of the other boons at 20th level, maybe give the player the ability to teleport to anywhere in the multiverse once a day as a standard action, because in fact Baba Yaga is from planet Earth, and if planet Earth well and truly does exist in Pathfinder, who's to say that everything else doesn't? After all, our GMs borrow from the world of fantasy and sci-fi and stuff all the time to build campaigns. Maybe you can just snap your fingers and step into another game, another land, or most importantly, another adventure. For the third one, let's take something that's powerful on the battlefield. Let's say we add our intelligence as an insight bonus to armor class and on all saving throws, because in fact Baba Yaga's bestiary entry does have something like that. Speaking of her bestiary entry, Baba Yaga does hit the scale at CR 30. Again, this is one of the strongest beings in the multiverse right here before your eyes, and now we're going to talk about killing her. Though Baba Yaga is affected by tongues, she speaks Abyssal, Aklo, Aquan, Oran, Celestial, Common, Draconic, Giant, Ignan, Eobarian, Polish, Russian, Sarmatian, Sylvan, Terran, and Triaxian. So yeah, there you go. Plan on teleporting to the Kremlin? Get Baba Yaga to come with you, she'll translate. In addition, at the very bottom of her gear section, and she's got all of the super good gear she needs, there's a note that says, Baba Yaga has access to a wide variety of other magic items that she can use at the GM's discretion, aka go nuts, GMs. You want her to have it, she's got it. Baba Yaga has the ability to cast Contingency, and whenever she is attacked, she is affected by Mislead. Baba Yaga was born a perfect specimen of humanity, and as a result her ability scores were generated using a 25-point buy, rather than using the standard 15-point buy used to create most NPCs. Additionally, Baba Yaga has much more gear than an NPC of her level would normally have, which increases her total CR by 2. Of course, we are finding this in the back of an adventure path where the 15-point buy reigns supreme, so this isn't a huge surprise. As we just discussed in the obediences, Baba Yaga adds her charisma modifier as an insight bonus to her armor class and on all the saving throws she ever has to throw. In addition, Baba Yaga can use her charisma score as well as her constitution score when calculating hit points. This ability increases her CR by 1. Baba Yaga does have a 32 charisma score, but her intelligence score is 46, so I see no reason why we can't use that instead for our boons, because it makes more sense. Again, you're a witch, you cast off your intelligence. Baba Yaga has built her dancing hut using a combination of the witch's hut hex and the Sanctum mythic path ability, and over time expanded the artifact's powers to its present state. The dancing hut of Baba Yaga serves as her familiar and replaces the normal witch's familiar ability. Baba Yaga's life is forever intertwined within her dancing hut, and parts of her essence reside within it. As long as this hut exists, this special condition grants her 300 bonus hit points, DR 10 over epic and good, and regeneration 20. Baba Yaga has hidden her death to make herself even more difficult to kill, which functions as the base mythic ability Immortality, but Baba Yaga always returns to life 24 hours later regardless of how she is killed. In order to permanently kill her, her death must be found and released back into her body, at which point she can be killed with a coup de grace or critical hit made with an artifact. Mystical arcane powers, mythic abilities, and complex arcane rituals have extended Baba Yaga's life. She gains the +3 bonus to intelligence, wisdom, and charisma scores for having lived beyond venerable age, but she doesn't gain the penalties to strength, dex, and con resulting from this advanced age. Okay, yeah, never mind. When I said the boons should include immortality, we'll take back the neg to our physical stats. You can be as buff as you want. Baba Yaga's supernaturally empowered life grants her complete immunity to ability damage and drain, charm, and compulsion effects, death effects, disease, energy drain, petrification, poison, and all forms of madness, including confusion effects and feeble mind. So no Cthulhu's here. Through the use of permanency, Baba Yaga is constantly under the effects of the following spells: Arcane Sight, Dark Vision, Read Magic, See Invisibility, and Tongues. Baba Yaga has also devised a way to inscribe symbol spells upon her person. She has permanent Symbols of Death, DC 36, magically inscribed on the center of her chest, between her shoulder blades, upon the crown of her head, and on the soles of her feet. Only a few great beings have knowledge of the symbol's passwords, each symbol has its own unique phrase, and even fewer significant personalities have ever been attuned to these symbols. As Queen of the Witches, Baba Yaga knows all witch spells, and in addition to that, all the sorcerer wizard spells. Baba Yaga also has knowledge of many other spells that she has researched, and many of these are arcane versions of divine spells. In addition, Baba Yaga can create artifacts and has done so to great extent, up to and including the dancing hut that she rides around in. So there she is, the Queen of Witches, the most powerful woman on Galarion, if not the multiverse. Most powerful because she can cast whatever she wants to cast, because she has whatever magic item she wants to have. And yeah, okay, immortality helps too. I can certainly dig it. I used Baba Yaga in a campaign once upon a time when I pronounced Kostichai. In my defense, without seeing a pronunciation guide, that word is super hard to pronounce. And I wish I would have known these stats existed, because she might have made a better big bad evil guy at the end of the campaign than Cthulhu did, if for no other reason than young GM Tommy would have seen, oh, I can put whatever I want on her, okay, cool, and then gone with it. And that is all I have to say about that. What do you guys think? Have you used Baba Yaga in a campaign before? Have you played Reign of Winter? And if so, did you continue the campaign and eventually go up against her? Be sure to like and subscribe for more videos. The next episode of Wednesday Afternoon Worship, where we talk about one of Paizo's core deities, that's right, the Dawnflower herself, Sarenrae, drops next Wednesday.